Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Okay, so this is Ariel and Cindy. Happy Monday, everyone. So welcome to participate in our August training. And for today's session, we invite our Executive Director of Fulbright Taiwan, Dr. Nadeau, to give us some introduction. So hello, Dr. Nadeau.
Hello, thank you, Ariel, and welcome everyone. It's nice to see you all here. My name is Randall Nadeau. I'm the Executive Director of the Foundation for Scholarly Exchange, which administers the Fulbright program in Taiwan. I think that some of you are still in the US. Many of you are in quarantine here in Taiwan. And the first thing I want to say is thank you for your patience throughout the last, how long has it been? 3 years since we've had COVID. It's always building the plane as we fly it. And, the border restrictions have been uncertain. Things are always in flux. We have a really good relationship with Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we pull a lot of strings, but it's still challenging. And I know that some of you have had some frustrations, and all the things that we had normally done in the past, booking your flights included, have been sort of upended, and some things we experiment with and then have to move in a different direction. So please be understanding. My staff, especially the ETA program staff, are wonderful people whom I love working with, and they work very, very hard. I think that Fulbright grantees have the tendency to look at the program, because the Fulbright program is huge, right? It's in 160 countries, but every country is different, and every commission or foundation has a different challenges and different opportunities, different ways that they manage the program. And when it comes right down to it, we're just people, and we're fallible, and we have to respond to, changing situations. So we really beg your patience through all this. And bottom line, most of you are here. We're glad you're here, and we're looking forward to getting the year started. Soon we'll all be meeting in person. That'll be nice. And we don't have to rely just on these online meetings. But in the meantime, I hope that the orientation so far last week has been useful and interesting to you, and that it will continue to be so. I guess that many of you, in college over the last 2 or 3 years got used to this format, and also probably found ways to tune in and tune out. But I'll ask you to tune in for the next few minutes, because there are a few important things that I want to talk about with you. By way of introduction, I was a college professor in the US, and before that, 30 years ago now, I was a graduate student here in Taiwan. And I've done research over the years in Taiwan, and I was a Fulbright scholar in Taiwan in 2014. And after that, I applied for this job as executive director of the commission here in Taiwan, and I've been doing this for 3 years now, and really love the job. It's a very rewarding job, largely because of all of you. And I'm talking to the local coordinators especially, but also the grantees who make this job so wonderful. Let me focus on a few points today. And let's see if my screen is being shared. I'm pressing on the right button. There we go. And now I'm going to put it in presentation mode. There we go. Yeah, I just want to talk about a few things, and then I won't go on too long because I know you have a full morning or evening, if you're still in the US, of other programs today for your orientation. But I do want to touch on a few things from my executive director's desk. First of all, it's just obviously to welcome you. Hang on a second. To welcome you here. Let's see. And to there we go. Just again to say how happy I am that you're here. I want to tell you, first of all, that there's over 80 ETA programs in the global Fulbright program around the world, and each of them is run differently. We in Taiwan are a self-funded program, and we use our negotiations with especially local cities and counties to support you. So all of our revenues come from the local cities and counties through agreements that we have with them to provide them with English teaching assistance in their classrooms. And the other thing that we do that I think is unique is that we give you a lot of support. First of all, through our local coordinators, whom you've already met online and soon will be meeting in person and will come to know and love and work with throughout the year. Those are full-time staff positions, and the local coordinators are responsible for taking care of you, responding to your needs, and helping with communication between you and your schools and communities. We also have grants for TEFL advisors who help with your training. We want you to be efficient and effective and professional in the teaching work that you do while you're in Taiwan, not only because that benefits the schools, but we think it benefits you too. It makes it a more meaningful, more impactful experience. So we have this grant for TEFL advisors who are very, very experienced. Again, you've met some of them already, and they'll be working with you closely throughout the year. So with this support structure, I think that we have a really unique program, and I think a model program among all the ETA programs around the world. One of the things that you've probably noticed is a strong emphasis that we have on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hopefully you've noticed that already in the orientation curriculum. Why do we do that? I can tell you that the Fulbright program globally is making great efforts to make recruitment and selection of Fulbrighters more inclusive, to spread the word more broadly about opportunities with Fulbright, to create a grantee cohort that is inclusive and representative of America's diversity. And a lot of this is about identity. And I think for all of us, for all of you, I hope that this experience in Taiwan will be part of a sort of your own creative and positive and identity formation at this juncture of your lives. And we have a strong commitment not only to being inclusive for our grantees, but also for you to recognize and learn about the incredible diversity of Taiwan society. And we hope that you will appreciate and come to love this unique place for all its variety and all of the very many populations and types of people and that live here. So all these things work hand in hand, the sense that we want to affirm our own uniqueness as individuals, our own expression of self-identity, and also to recognize that diversity and inclusiveness of the Taiwanese community. You're in Taiwan, and we're glad that you've chosen us. We're so pleased that you're here, and I'm very confident that for those of you who have never been to Taiwan before, you're going to come to love it, and that you're going to have a very wonderful experience here. There will be times that it's not so easy, and there will be hardships, there will be cultural misunderstandings. That's part of the Fulbright experience. But on the whole, I think that you're going to really love it, and that this will be a very impactful experience in your lives. When I was a college professor in the US, teaching Asian studies, I always encouraged my students to actually go to Asia to experience the languages and cultures of Asia. And I always said that, if you can only go to one place, go to Taiwan, because Taiwan is probably the most diverse country in Asia, representing many cultural influences, certainly indigenous, Taiwanese, Chinese, Japanese, Southeast Asian, Western cultural influences, which you will experience while you're here. At the same time, it's a fountainhead of traditional Chinese culture, and you will see, in temples and festivals and holidays, traditional Chinese characters, Mandarin education, local dialects. There is so much rich Chinese cultural history here. And in fact, it is a now becoming, in some ways, a first choice for many academic scholars to do sinological research here in Taiwan. You will see Taiwan's natural beauty. I hope you'll have opportunities to travel around the island to experience that, and you will experience people who are warm and friendly and who love you and are so excited that you're here working in their communities. It's a place where Taiwanese take their freedoms for granted in some ways. It's a place where people can express themselves freely in their political views, artistic expression, and in their choices of self-identity, whether that's gender identity, sexual identity, ethnic identity, and so on, where people feel freedom to do that. And these freedoms are highly valued here in Taiwan. So I think you will find many things to appreciate and learn about while you're here. I want to say a few things about safety and security, because I know that it's a concern that many of you have, and I've heard from some of you and some of your families about this. I want to say a few things, and I don't want to go on too long about it. It's already almost 10 o'clock, so but I do want to say a few things by way of reassurance to you. And I should do that with the caveat that I do not work for the State Department. I do not work for the American Institute in Taiwan, our de facto embassy. I work for the Fulbright program and the board here in Taiwan that oversees our program. And so I do not have any kind of privileged information or any kind of secret knowledge. But that being said, AIT has always assured me that they will inform me of any concerns that they have or any announcements that need to be made to you. And the very first thing to say is that AIT and the US government have not raised threat levels for Americans living in Taiwan. Clearly, the Pelosi visit and that coming a few months after the Russian invasion of Ukraine have raised concerns, mostly in the media, about next steps. And there's no doubt that China's demonstrations over the last few days have been unusual and well, unusual and yet at the same time predictable. I would say that, there are three reasons that I feel personally I myself feel very confident and very safe in Taiwan. First of all, it's important to know that these showy demonstrations by China have the purpose of being a kind of symbolizing their determination that one day Taiwan will be absorbed, their domestic politics, assuring the population that they're in control. But these are not preparations for an immediate or an imminent invasion of Taiwan. Secondly, the parallels between Putin and Xi are misplaced parallels. Xi Jinping and the Chinese government are very much engaged in the world economically and politically, and those supply chains and other relationships are extraordinarily important to China's economy and future aspirations. There's no indication that anything imminent is happening. China is always playing the long game, and there's no reason for us to worry. Look around, and you'll see that Taiwanese who have been living with this for many, many years, we're going about our ordinary lives and are not especially alarmed. So I know it's been dramatic. I know it's been covered a lot in the Western press, but I'm very, very confident in our safety, and I'm very, very confident that we don't have anything to worry about. If that were ever to change, if there were ever any other indications, AIT would share that with me, and I would share that with you. I have been asked to talk about another kind of safety and security issue on a more personal level, and that's the use of drugs, and especially pot. I want to tell you that you have to be very, very careful about this issue. Well, I shouldn't say careful. Don't use pot in Taiwan. Don't bring pot to Taiwan. Don't buy any pot in Taiwan. I think that I was thinking, like the Brittany Griner case is also a kind of false parallel. There's a sense that she's being held for political reasons, and that Taiwan, because we have such a friendly relationship with Taiwan, they would be more lenient or wouldn't do such a thing as Russia is doing to Brittany Griner. There's no parallel there. The Taiwanese legal system is very, very strict on this matter. If you have possession of marijuana, even in small quantities, you will be arrested, you will go to prison, and there is nothing that I can do about it, that the Fulbright program can do about it, that AIT can do about it. And I speak from experience here. A few years ago, we had an ETA found in possession of pot. He spent 13 months in a prison cell, and he was lucky that it wasn't a lot longer. So don't fool with this, and especially, obviously not to bring it with you, but also especially be very, very careful if you're in a club or you go out and you're offered something, people give you something, don't accept it and don't take it. You mustn't be caught in possession of marijuana. I have no personal objection to pot use in the United States, but don't do it in Taiwan. And please, be very, very careful. You're linking these together. I mean, honestly, your safety, your security, that's our absolute first priority. So that's the thing we care about the most. And for you to have a great year here and to go home safely and securely at the end of the year, that's really all we ultimately care about. So please be cautious about that. So on that serious note, I will close just to say again, a warm welcome to you. Glad you're here. Looking forward to the start of the year. For those of you in quarantine, you've got air conditioning because it's pretty warm right now. And you'll enjoy, I think, having some time to both get acclimated to the time change and spend some time learning about our program. So I will be participating now and then, coming in and out of the online orientation. Soon you'll be going to your sites. I hope you enjoyed the school presentations last week. I can tell you the schools work really, really hard on those because they're so eager to have you. The schools love our ETA program, and for good reason, because you all represent the best of what we are in the United States as a nation, and we're proud of you, and you should be proud of yourselves for being selected as Fulbrighters. The schools really want you to come. They've put their best foot forward, and I hope you've enjoyed that selection process. So soon enough, you'll be joining your communities, you'll be meeting your coordinators, and I think I'll be meeting you in person at the joint site orientations at the end of August, and I look forward to that. So thank you, Ariel, and thank you everyone for listening, and I look forward to meeting all of you, and enjoy the rest of your orientation week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Nadeau. So everyone, we will divide into 3 teams later for the second session of our class. So for the ETAs and first year ETF, you can stay in this Zoom meeting, okay? And you can turn off your camera, that is fine. And for the returning ETF and EMI ETF, you will go to different Google Meet link. Okay, so see you 10:15. Okay, see you later. Hello, welcome back. Please turn on your camera. Okay, so let me make sure again. This session is for the ETAs and first year ETF. Okay, so if you're returning ETF, which means you were ETA before, you have to go to different Google Meet link. Okay. So now for this session, we invite Ms. Danielle Little. She was our TEFL advisor for 2019 to 21st, I believe. Yes, so let's welcome her. Danielle.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. And where's Jane, my co-conspirator? Where's Jane? Well, like Ariel said, I was an advisor from 19 to 21, and I was very happy to be there and work with everybody. And it's just, I'm very happy to be back to do this presentation. Jane and I did it a couple times last year, and I guess they liked it, so we get to come back. And I'm very grateful because working with Fulbright and working with the ETAs was one of the best jobs, if not the best job I've ever had. And I'm really grateful to have a chance to be part of the program still. And Jane is trying to get in. But we're having a little bit of difficulty just because it's a huge amount of people, I think, and getting somebody new into this set is takes a little bit longer now. But she should be popping in soon so we can start almost on time, I think.
Haha.
Aha, there she is. She's coming.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. I don't know why the link I got is for tomorrow. Yeah. Did you just explain what was going on?
Yes, I guess that's what happened the first 2 times I tried it too.
Okay.
You had the wrong link. Okay.
Thank you guys for bearing with us, and hope you get a few minutes extra rest. Okay. Danielle, should we just start, or is Cindy gonna share something?
No, I don't know. I think we're okay. Ariel introduced me a little bit. And then Jane, I guess I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
If they don't know you yet.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Daniel, and thank you everybody for joining a Monday morning workshop with us. I know everybody is suffering from jet lag or maybe time differences, and it's a Monday morning. Phew. Okay, it was a crazy morning for me too. Okay, I am the Intercultural Communication Advisor, Jane. I know you have seen me last week for a little bit, and today me and Daniel will be sharing later about Fulbright Cultural Ambassador, this topic with everyone. And I will be with you during this year to support you in intercultural communications or mental health services. And we will introduce that later in our session with Amy. And today we will focus more on how we can communicate, or how we can communicate with the schools, or some scenarios that happens. Okay. And if you really feel tired or very feel sleepy, you fall asleep during our 1.5 hour of presentation, don't forget, Daniel and I will love you the same. This is very important. Okay, and the second one is later we will have some activities and we will invite you to join doing chat box, or it will be nice to hear some of your beautiful voices, some interviews. If you would like to share your experience, that will be beautiful. You always have a choice. You can say no to us and you can join or not to join. Remember, you always have a choice, but we will encourage that everybody can join with us together. And later I will share the presentation, the PowerPoint. Give me 1 second. Okay. There we go. Okay, if you can see my PowerPoint, can you type in the chat box, just type in 1 so I can see that. I can know we can see. Okay, perfect.
Good.
Okay. Yes. Oh, there, James, this is for ETA, correct? Yes. Okay, yeah, this workshop is for the ETAs. If you are in the wrong meeting room, please let Ariel or Cindy know. They could help you. And if you want to join our meetings, feel free.
I think we have some ETFs too, first year ETFs, Ariel, is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
so we realize they're coming in. So if you've had this before, we hope you enjoy it again and hope you participate and share your experiences as well. And if you're all new, that's great too. And I didn't mean to rhyme there.
No worries, we can clarify a little bit about the role too. ETAs will be the first year you coming to Taiwan and teach English. This is your first year in Taiwan, but there are some roles because ETA and ETF is 2 different system of programs. So there might be some second year ETF, like first year ETA, second year ETF, maybe also some of the first year ETF, which means that maybe you apply in this different program. You also come from the States. This is your first time in Taiwan, but you're applying a different system, like that will be ETF as well. Okay, so later if the scenario you don't understand what does that mean, you can also type in the chat box. Okay, so we could go a little bit into our, finally, our workshop today. And Daniel, did you just introduce yourself, or do you want to, you are our outstanding advisor alumni.
I'll take the alumni. I don't know about outstanding, but I definitely have had a good run of it and was happy to be invited back for another year, and actually had to say no the 3rd time. But like I said, I'm really happy to be here. I've been teaching for over 20 years, and most of that's in teaching English as a foreign language in various countries. And I'll get a little bit more into that later on when I give some examples from my own experience. So I don't want to go into too much with that now, but just so you know, I do have some experience in this area from the perspective of being the foreigner in a new country. So I totally understand a lot of what's going to be going on in your lives, and I've seen it as an advisor, and I've been there and done that myself many times. So yeah, this is some good stuff for you, and hopefully we'll give you some things that you can use this year through your experience.
Thank you for sharing. Like, this will be a preparing workshop to help we prepare ourselves into this role, how to be ambassador of cultural and professionalism, and also empathy. So there will be 2 focus of this workshop. And before we start, we will love to check in with everybody since a Monday morning workshop. What is your energy level? 1 to 10, 1 is very low, 10 is very high. Just let us know if you want to share, like, where is your level? Yeah. Whew, okay. See lots of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
I see a lot of, they're all over the place, but that's good.
Okay.
And people are being honest with themselves, which is important. It's important to be honest with yourself too. So yeah.
Yeah. Later, if you're really tired,
Lindsay, good luck.
Quarantine hotel. Okay, you can think it as a podcast to listen to this workshop. If you're having a very low energy, later we will have some activities. We will interview some of your experience. If you don't feel comfortable, let us know. It's okay. if you like to share, we would love to hear what are your experience, then we can like exchange different experience with each other. Okay, how about you, Daniel? What's your level?
I'm probably I should be at like a 2 because it's past my bedtime almost. But I'm actually really high energy because I'm so excited to be here. I probably won't get to sleep until after 2 a.m. So my energy is probably like a 9 or something.
Okay.
And I will try not to talk, maybe a 10. I'll try not to talk too fast. Send me a message to slow down if I get too excited and talk too fast. Or Jane, you can cue me as well.
Okay, I need a 10. Maybe I'm at level 5 right now, but no worries. Looking forward to everybody's sharing. Okay, so really want to hear some of your experience. I would like to invite guys to think, thinking on your past, maybe international or intercultural like experience. What are some we will be there. We have we live in a lot of like communities, like your neighbors or what you study abroad, like different places, or you're meeting different people from the past. I wonder, like, what are some of your successful engage with this community? What are some of these experience that you will love to, if you would like to share? Yeah. So this will be the first question for everybody. This community could be a very flexible term. It could be with your school, because that will be a lot of culture too. It could be with your experience study abroad, or if you have joined other programs other than Fulbright, if you have exchange student experience, what are some experience that you successfully engage with these community? Yeah, see if anyone would like to share your experience.
Let's see, how can we get, oh, here you've got one in the text box.
Okay, thank you, James. Hey, do you want to share? Do you have a mic if you want to share it with us?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that
Thank you.
I've traveled like internationally a lot, which has been really an awesome experience, but I feel like I've been able to like engage with the community, you know, like the ways you're saying, because you're just merely like stopping over. So that's something that I feel like when I've been talking to people about my plans for this year and what I'm going to be doing, that I'm so excited for, is to be not only visiting a foreign place, but actually like living and being there and being a part of that community for such an extended period of time. I think that's such a unique opportunity. So I almost feel like my answer to the question is like it's not yet applicable fully.
He's answering number 2.
Yes. Looking forward to these expositional goals. That's something you want to include. Thank you, James. Hope you have a great experience. Yeah. And I see Sarah.
Yeah, the only other time I traveled abroad was to Bath, England for like a month, but I do remember it was during like the World Cup and stuff like that. So it was really cool to go with the other people on my exchange program to like the different bars to watch the game with the local people too. And it was so much fun. So I do wish that I had done more things like that, engaged with the local people a lot more during that trip.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing like the sports or like going to bars to watch sports. This could be a very good way to engage with the local people. And baseball, it's a big sports in Taiwan. So yeah. So
don't wait to go to a game because I missed my opportunity. So go to a game. Really.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. And I see Madeline. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, I'm Maddie.
Maddie.
Yeah, I think one of the experiences, this was a while ago in high school, but I went to Rwanda, and I think since it has such like a rich history, particularly like a recent history, engaging with the community in that way and like learning about their history, the culture, and kind of like, you know, making sure you're not just there to like give your culture, but actually learn about theirs, and making it like a two-way relationship instead of just like you're coming to do this. Instead of like partnering with the co-teacher or co-counselors or whatever, and making it really like a truly combined intercultural experience.
Yeah, thank you, Maddie. Yeah, like you you might not just be with your co-teacher. There will be lots of Taiwanese, like for me or the staffs, like if you want to like have some talk, we'd be more than happy to share our history and like to exchange our different experience. Thank you, Maddie. And I see, does that pronounce Stefan? I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Yeah, no worries. My name is Stefan. I have had the chance to both work and live in a couple different countries. And I think it's really important. I put it in the chat to actively engage in local relationship building. I think it's really easy to just kind of build relationships with people that look like you or have similar experiences, but that doesn't really give you a chance to engage in the community. And so the faster you kind of put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and embrace that uncomfortable situation, being able to then, you know, actively engage and successfully engage with that other local culture. And also it's a great way to foster cultural exchange between yourself, what you know, and what others know.
If you're sharing that active role, that putting in that active role, then like sharing, exchange different culture. Thank you, Stefan. And before we becoming that active role, like if you don't know where to find these community, you can always consult with us. Like we live here longer, and then Daniel has some experience being in Taiwan. How can we get involved with these communities? Who are the people? Who are the community I want to engage? We will be more than happy to help you find them. Okay. And I saw some chat sharing, like maybe share some of the studying abroad, engage in the community, and learning about the culture. So being in that learning position, empathizing with the other culture, that could be something that if I interpret wrong, let me know. Okay. And thank you for Leah. Wow, everybody have lots of different experience of presentation, share food. Food is also a very good way to, I don't know if anyone is in Taichung, Tianzhong, they have like a marathon, like all the local people will bring up food and you will just like run and then eat, and like every county have different special or cool things. Food could be a very good way. Festivals could be a good way. And Kevin shared how to take out garbage to change. That is very okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you mean take out garbage in exchange of lunging? Okay. I thought it was like taking out garbage, because in Taiwan you have to go take out your garbage to the garbage truck, and during that time you can have conversation with your neighbors. That's a way of us getting engaged the community.
A lot of ETAs do that. That is one of the best ways for them to kind of start basic conversations with people. I've heard a lot of ETAs get to talk to people while taking out their trash.
Yeah, that will be a new cultural experience for everyone. And thank you for Skylar sharing that your experience working with international students. Yeah, different cultural language would be a big challenge. Well, someone is also answering the second questions here. Okay. Yeah, sorry because of the time, I can't like go through all of these chat, but like if during this workshop, if you want to like see other people's experience, you can go through these chat and like have some conversations too. Okay, that will be very valued. Okay, and then some of these good way to be active role, sports, food, or learning from culture, history. These could be like some of the ways that to engage with the community. And definitely there will be some challenges you face in these situations. I saw like some of them, it's about like languages that could be a big barrier because you will be meeting a lot of local people, and maybe they will assume you look Asian, you're Asian American, you look Taiwanese, so you might speak Chinese, or like, oh, you learn Chinese, so maybe they will have some expectation, but language will be a big barrier. I wonder if there are some other challenges that some of you have faced. If you put it in a chat box, you can also raise your hand to use your mic that could share with us.
Well, maybe we can move on And then if people have, because we are kind of tight for time because we both like to talk a lot and we want to share a lot with you. So
Okay.
I do want to keep encouraging you to put everything in the chat box, because I know a lot of people are looking at the chat box while they're talking, even though Jane and I may not get to look at all the comments. We do value them, and it's really great sharing for everyone. So please continue throughout the workshop to put your comments in the chat box. As well as raise your hand. That worked really well, so we could see those people in order. And that'll be really helpful. So looking forward to your Fulbright experience this year, and this works for everybody who's here, I think. What are your expectations or goals for this year? What do you hope is going to happen? And what are some of the challenges you expect to face? Maybe you've heard tell of some of the challenges from other ETAs in the past, or maybe you just know that some things are going to be more challenging for you. For example, for me, talking to people is really challenging. It's different when it's professional, but personally, getting into a new culture and trying to use my language, whatever level it is, I get very nervous and very shy about talking. So creating conversation and trying to get into a language and cultural situation can be really hard for me, and I have to really push myself to do that. So that's a couple examples. So do we have anybody who'd like to share expectations and challenges? Speaking, I see the language barrier, not having any experience with the Taiwanese language. Yes, that was one of my biggest challenges too, but don't worry, you can survive. You'll be okay. Being vegetarian, possible. There's a lot of Buddhists and a lot of people. There are a lot of vegetarians in Taiwan, aren't they? Yeah. So it's not easy, but it is possible. I think it's definitely more challenging anywhere you go. But yeah, being a vegetarian, you'll have to check menus more and get into a flow of what things will work and what don't. But that's a good. And it's also a good conversation starter to be like, hey, I want to go find the best vegetarian restaurant in the neighborhood. Can you help me find the best vegetarian restaurant in the neighborhood? And go out with somebody from your neighborhood to do it, your school or another buddy in your cohort, something like that. Oh, overbooking yourself. Yes. Having so many commitments to so many different parts of your life that you want to do while you're here. This 1 year, you want to do everything. Prioritizing, finding balance. That is definitely going to be a good challenge. Does anybody want to share out loud?
I also see some like working.
Jessica.
Yeah, is kind of echoing what a lot of people are saying is I've studied Mandarin like academically, but never had like a necessary practice. So like, but like my goal isn't like to get better like professionally, because I can speak really formally, but like I want to be able to order from the food stalls without feeling embarrassed. There's so many. I'm in the temporary housing right now. There's so many really close by, and they're all really nice, but I'm tired of it taking so long to figure stuff out, and I feel really silly. So hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be okay doing that without needing Google Translate.
Yeah. It'll happen. You can, if you already have some and you're just worried about getting less formal and more communicative, you're definitely going to be able to put yourself in those situations pretty quickly. Just give it and they say usually for, the flow of things with language, depending on what you have, it can be 3 months to 6 months before you get a good set in your rhythm of things. In 3 months, you might be able to understand a lot. And in 6 months, you might be able to share more. Now that's probably fast tracked because I'm not talking Mandarin in my experience. I'm talking French, but I couldn't actually use it when I got to France after 4 years of studying it. And it took me 3 months to understand everything that was going on, or most of it. And it took me 6 months to be able to say everything I wanted to say really well. And that was with a lot of study. So just be patient. It takes time to get into it and get into how it's spoken in Taiwan, how it's used in Taiwan. It's a little bit different. So have fun with it. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that about being patient. And diet is also important. Later, you will get in touch with your school. Lunch boxes, a lot of school, they will provide, Taiwan have like a big portion that we eat pork. So if your religion or if your diet, like you're vegetarian, you don't eat pork, you don't eat beef, like having this conversation with the school, that could be something important. And if you need our help, like please let your coordinators know, or please let me and Amy, I know. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, keep going on in the chat box. If you have different challenges or experience you'd like to share, that could be a very good place for everybody can exchange your ideas. Okay, because of the time, we're moving on to our next little activity. This is called it's called Share Feeling. It's actually a board game. I don't know if anyone have played it before. Later, this is an activity. Feel free to join. It will be big 3 parts. The first one is we will give out a scenario, and then you can identify with the role. But today, Daniel and I have already done that part for you. We are an ETA or first year ETF group, correct, right? Okay, so if later we will have the scenario for everybody. And the second part is we will guess 2 of the strongest feeling about this role might have. We can guess, okay? And then later I will invite one of you who will love to be my interviewee. Like I can interview you to figure out what will be some of your feelings in this scenario. Okay, so we can have different perspectives of feelings and about thoughts. Okay, and the third part is about score. If you're with your students, you can definitely do that. Today, we're not going to score. If you get 2 rights, you get 2 points. If you get 1 right, you get 1 point. If you miss, it's okay. You're still awesome. Remember that. Okay, so this will be the more clear how will we work later in this activity. First one, we will read the scenario together. And second one, we will guess the role feeling. Okay, and every feeling will have a number. So you just need to put in the chat box about like what number, what feeling you think this person might have. And then I will invite one of the ETA or ETF to review, if you're in this scenario, what will your feelings be? Okay, so we can have different ideas or know what this person really feels. Okay, so everybody is ready. These are some scenarios, actually happens a lot. So make sure later Daniel will lead some discussions with us. The first one is, it is Saturday, okay? Imagine it's Saturday and school starts on Monday and your school have not given you any actual schedule for the coming week or coming semester. Okay, so imagine like you are in this scenario, your school haven't given you this schedule yet, but school is starting very soon. What will this person feels? Okay, so right now everybody can put in the chat box. If it's this person, you can put in two emotions that this person might feel. Okay. Okay, I see lots of anxious, frustration, annoyed. Okay, we'll give it another 10 seconds.
Ooh, we're gonna need a volunteer too, aren't we?
Yes, yes. How about the first one who guesses? But I can't scroll to the... Okay, let me see who's on my screen. Okay. Hi, is Denki. Hi, I think you know it. Okay, can you pronounce your name, and would you mind being my volunteer?
Sure. It's Adenike.
Adenike? Okay,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Yeah. Will you be a first year of ETA with us this year?
Yes.
Okay. Would you love to be my volunteer if I can interview you?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Let me see if the chat box. Okay, seems like a lot of people have put in, two different feelings. Okay, if it were you, this situation, how would you feel?
So I put 2 anxious.
Okay.
I know I'm sort of the type of person who likes to know what they're like getting into. So if I didn't have like a schedule for what's coming up, I'd be like, oh my gosh, am I doing this correctly? What's happening? So I put anxious.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being my volunteer. So anxious because thank you. A lot of ETA or ETF might feel like, oh, I need to be prepared. So maybe you'll feel anxious about it. Okay, I see another person on my screen. Ross, are you there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, can you be my volunteer?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, if it's in this scenario, how would you feel?
I put anxious as well. I also put, and I'd probably feel a little bit of a mixture between frustrated and annoyed, because I am also kind of one of those people too that likes to know what I'm getting into prior to doing it. I mean, I could maybe work on the fly too, but I kind of feel like being the school should supply that to the ETA so that they can kind of know what to do. So I'd say 2, and then probably a mixture of 4 and 5 as well.
Okay, thank you, Ross. So maybe anxious and also frustrated and annoyed. Yeah, like sometimes we will think that, oh, maybe the school, they work with Fulbright. They might know or how to, like how the system work. Okay, but unfortunately, some of the school are new. And some of the school, they, even though they have a long history, we need your help to let the school know that we need this information. How would that help us? Okay, so later, Daniel can you see there?
There you go. All right. So the first question, looking at another perspective, helps us gain empathy, right? That's our whole goal. So we get really caught up in our frustration and our anxiety of, I don't know what's going on. And that can kind of shut us down a little bit. But we want to take our step back and we want to look at the other person's perspective, where we are going to have very limited information about what's going on. So what do you think? Can you get some guesses? What might be happening in the environment, in the situation? Are we on number 1 or number 2? Jane, is this discussion 1 or 2?
1.
Okay. So like what time, this mid-semester isn't related to this, but what's the situation when you go to school for the first day of classes? What is that environment like? Where do you think that information is coming from? And what do you think is going on there? And then what kind of questions might you need to ask to get the information you're looking for? To see if you can get a schedule, or if you can't get a schedule, what else would you like to know? Any volunteers? I could look too. I suppose I could do what Jane did. Oh, I know. I'm going to do my other one. I'm going to pick it the other way. Ross, you were the last person to go. So would you please pick the next volunteer, or would you please volunteer someone for us?
Sure. Let's do Joyce. She's here. She's a tied on ETA, so.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Joyce.
Okay, so what do I think might be going on behind the scenes? Yeah, so if school about to start on Monday and it's Saturday, I would imagine that that they have stuff that they're handling. Like I might be anxious, but I also want to trust the process and know that they are thinking of me as like a support role and that they want me to be successful in their school. So something about trying to trust the process, and maybe I'd reach out to my coordinator, kind of get some like first backup, and then also my LET, because we hopefully have like a good relationship at that point. So maybe be transparent about my emotions, that I'm like a little bit nervous, but I also trust them and the process. So just trying to like probe for answers, but not do like a total freak out.
Yeah.
And if you do, that's also fine too.
Freak out at home. Try not to freak out in school. Yeah. Thank you, Joyce. That's some really good things of questions you're asking yourself to try and do it as well as what you might ask and who you might go to. Yeah. Freakouts are okay, but Joyce just keeps laughing and I just see her face. So all right, Joyce, pick the next person. I'm trying to keep going here. Who's the next person?
Okay, let's see. I will pick let's do Shreya.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So the what are some of the questions, that one?
How about the first one? I think Joyce did a good job with the second one. What do you think might be going on in the school? Can you guess what would be happening in a school before the first day of class that might be creating this gap of information for you?
Yeah, so I'm sure on the first day and like just beginning, they're probably getting a lot together. Like there's probably even like registration and just like getting all of the classroom stuff together. So just trying to be understanding that like I'm just like one part of the puzzle and that there's like a lot to make the school function. So trying to be like asking and like inquisitive, but also not kind of like overbearing and assuming that I'm the most important part of the puzzle in that situation.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that really hits on some of the key points. We have a lot of needs when we're going into a brand new situation, but keeping that balanced perspective that you are part of the whole puzzle, and then having that ability to be like, I trust that they will fill me in. Those are going to be very critical. Those two pieces are going to be very critical to your ability to handle challenging situations in the beginning of the semester, because there's a lot of things that sometimes change in the beginning of the semester too. So just be ready for that. Thank you guys. Again, don't forget you can chat your answers in the text boxes too, because we won't get to share everybody's. So if you feel you have something you want to share, please do, or if you'd like to share something. And Jane, I think we can go on to the next one.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so we move on to the second scenario. This is something that happens a lot too. Your schedule is really packed. Everybody's going to be really busy because you'll be teaching. Maybe you'll have some extra like Chinese class or other things going on in your life. But your LET tells you an English competition is coming up and they would really need your help. Okay, so this is the scenario that you're already packed, like your schedule is already really busy, but your LET tells you wants your help. How would this role feels? Okay, so please pick two feelings you guess. Like if this is happening to this ETA, what are some of the feelings that might be experiencing? Okay, so you can pick. I see some happy, anxious, surprise, frustration, sad.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing. Okay, maybe we can continue. Daniel's. Sierra, are you still there? Would you like to popcorn to someone that I can interview?
I can popcorn it to, how about Jack?
Jack? Okay. Jack, are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Jack.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, would you mind being my volunteer?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you see lots of different guesses. There's happy, anxious, there's sad, annoyed, and maybe 3 plus 4. What is yours? If in this scenario, what will be some of your feelings?
So I picked annoyed just because I would hope that my LET would understand, kind of see what I'm going through and understand my emotions, so he wouldn't ask me to do another task during this time. So I would definitely be annoyed, and I would definitely tell him what I'm going through, to let him know. But yeah, I think my number one emotion would be annoyed in this situation.
Thank you, Jack, for sharing. And you bring up a really good point. And sometimes because they might not know what's going on. So bringing up what is happening in my life right now, like this is like very new to me. I'm adjusting and I'm learning how to teach the teaching skills, like what's going on with me right now. And like maybe later we will talk more about like how we set the boundaries or how we can protect ourselves. That is also important too. And also sharing that, oh, we understand that the school really needs help. And how do we find that balance? Okay, thank you, Jack. Would you mind pick another person for me who's on your screen?
Kyle's on my screen, so I'll popcorn it to Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Hello.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can. Can you be my volunteer?
Yes, I can be your volunteer.
Thank you so much. Okay, in this scenario, if it were you, what are some of the feelings that you will feel?
The first one that like immediately jumped out to me was anxious. I feel
Mhm.
like I'm definitely somebody who like doesn't want to disappoint anyone. So, I would be like reluctant to say no. And even if I was having a hard time managing like my other things, I would be like, like, how do I like make everybody happy? So that was
Mhm.
definitely like my first thought.
Thank you, Kyle, and for sharing with us. Like anxious definitely will be sometimes because we don't want to let our school down or we don't want to let our LET down. And thank you for having this like mindset that you want to provide yourself to the program and to the students. And we also don't want all of you to overwhelm. Okay. So later we can share some good ways that we can like set these boundaries. All right, Dean. Thank you, Kyle.
Okay, so let's focus in the interest of time. Let's see. We've talked a little bit about finding a balance already, I think. So I think that you're getting the idea that that's really important. And Kyle's question about, I already have a lot going on, but I don't want to say no. I really want to support them. I think those are both really good aspects to being aware that your life does need some balance. So that's really good awareness. And then the other thing is to look at, again, what might be going on behind the scenes at the school? Why are they asking you for this now when they know that you already have a full schedule? What might be going on? Why are they coming to you with this request? Anybody have any ideas on that? Kyle, you can feel free to pass it off, or anybody who would like to share can raise a hand or text it, chat it. Kanya. Oh, Emily's got a good one. And then Kyle, I'll let you pick one more. Emily says, maybe it's important for their rankings, prestige, and community. Yes. They love competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're very popular. I don't want to say they like competitions. I don't like the way that phrase is out, but yeah, competitions have a good place in schools here. There's some serious competitions going on.
Mm-hmm.
They might be trying to include you, not just, they didn't mention it because they don't know if it's on the schedule or what, how to read that wrong. Yeah. They want to include you in a lot of things. They want you to be part of the school community. And sometimes, yes, it is a face. Sometimes it's a skill set. And sometimes it's they need someone to do it. And sometimes and the best thing is if you need a balance, Kyle, something that might work for you would be to ask if somebody could help you do it. So maybe you say something like, could I do it 2 days a week, but somebody else does it 3 days a week or something. You ask for help behind the scenes because you don't necessarily know why things are going on, and you can't necessarily say to your ETA, why are we doing this? Why do you need me to do it? That can feel very defensive. So asking for help to do it. Yes, I'd like to help, but I can't make a full-time commitment to this. I had to do that in my situation. I was working at 2 separate schools and one school wanted me to work. And I said, I'm only able to help on these days at this time. And then that blocked that time and it was really good. So those kind of things help out a lot.
And sometimes we can maybe begin the sentence with, oh, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for thinking me in this role. Yeah, but sorry, there's something that I'm busy with and I can help with this part, but probably this part I won't be able. So it's important like to share what you feel like you can do and what are some parts you can't, to be like clear and gentle to share. Yeah, lots of
understaffing is another one somebody mentioned. I think that's a good consideration too. They might not have all the people they need for something and they want to use you more. Sorry, Jane, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's move on to number 3. Do we have time for number 3?
I think so. We can go until 11.
15, 20, almost 20. We started late.
Okay. I think 11:45.
Oh, wait, no, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking, I forgot we got an extra half an hour.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Yeah. And I want to add something about the boundaries part. Sometimes like the cultural difference, maybe your LET will call you maybe late at 10, like let's do some lesson planning. Okay. And if you don't want to disappoint your LET, but you really need that rest. Yeah. So like it's important to share, oh, thank you for thinking me at 10 p.m. I'm trying to lesson plan with me. Like I would love to, but right now I really need to rest. Like tomorrow, these are some time that I'm available. Can we like talk like for 10 minutes at that time? Okay, so sometimes the cultural differences, they will, we Taiwanese, speaking for myself, like we work sometimes like at late 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Yeah, and expecting that you guys are also maybe free, nothing to do. So maybe you can do that part. Okay, so that protecting yourself is really important. Okay. All right. Okay, maybe we can move on to the third scenario. And okay, this is something that happens a lot because we will be in Taiwan. Most of us, like we have like black hair, and there will be lots of Asian American cohort have faced this situation. So that's why we bring it up, that we want to have these conversations. So later in this round, we will have two kinds of role that you can identify with. The first one will be if you identify yourself as Asian American, and the first one is you identify yourself as allies. And we will split into two parts to guess, like if it happens to this scenario, what will this Asian American cohort feels, or what will these ally feels? Okay, so there will be two parts, and you can pick which part you want to identify with later when I interview. Okay, and I'm guessing everybody can guess like what are these this ETA going through. Okay, and before we start this scenario, in this scenario, there's a term called Clio class. Clio class, it means that maybe the subject won't be you teaching English. Maybe it will be PE, or maybe it will be life classes. You might be cooperating with a local Taiwanese teacher, might not know English. Okay, so this is like something you might face. Just want to bring it up also, you can have the better idea. So in this scenario, one of your Asian American cohort school asked this ETA to teach a Clio class using a Chinese textbook as the core source of material. Okay, sometimes these school or LET will assume, oh, you look Asian, you know Chinese, here you go, this is the textbook. You can figure it out. Okay, so if in this scenario, okay, first I would like to invite you to identify yourself, like if you feel like you're Asian American or if you're allies. Okay, and now we're gonna guess. First one is for this Asian American ETA. How would this person feel when the school gives this person a Clio textbook, assuming that you speak Chinese, you know Chinese, you will know how to handle this. Okay, how would this person feel? Okay.
Oh, they're still choosing their roles. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting
Okay,
some
yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, sorry. The roles one, you can just choose it inside your heart. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Oh, angry. Yeah, that's bound to happen.
Yeah. So there will be different feelings, like maybe angry, surprised, anxious. Maybe they have expectations on us. Frustrated, yes. Calm.
All the feels.
Yeah, all the feelings, annoyed. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing. And I see Susan or Anne. Susan, because I saw you. Can I interview you if you are with us?
Yeah.
Hi. Thank you for sharing your sorry, I can't see you. Oh, there you are. Okay. Hi, Susan. Can you be my volunteer?
Yeah.
Okay. So if in this scenario, how would you feel? Like the teacher assumed that you are fluent in Chinese, even without asking, or are you Asian American, or what nationality, ethnicity you are?
I think first I put down anxious and surprised. Definitely surprised at first because like I am Asian American, but I don't speak Chinese. I'd be like surprised that they assumed that of me, but I can understand why they assumed it. After that, I think I'd be really anxious because what do I tell them? What do I say? I actually don't know if I can do this. But I'm not sure if it would be like, I'm not sure how to say it to them that I can't do it.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you, Susan, for sharing that you're feeling like about very surprised or anxious and don't know how to respond to them. Like that happens a lot. Like we can have like some ideas brainstorming today, but if later, if you want to have like more personal, how to express my feelings or my thoughts to the school, you can also reach out to us. We can have individual talks too. Okay, so anxious, surprised, that will definitely be something like, why, so let's go assume that we know. Okay, thank you. Can I also have another volunteer if you're willing to share, if you identify as Asian American and you would like to share, that would be appreciated.
Samantha.
Hi, Samantha.
Hi. So I identify as Asian American and I wrote 2 and 5, so anxious and annoyed. Anxious because I feel like there would be that expectation. But I would also add like the feeling of embarrassment because maybe the teacher, the LET, has experience speaking to me and I can speak Mandarin, but I know my reading skills, especially in traditional Chinese, are nowhere near what they should be to like interpret a textbook. So that feeling of embarrassment and like letting my students down, I guess, in a way, but also annoyed that the expectation was there in the first place.
Thank you for sharing, Samantha, and adding that another emotion, embarrassed. Sometimes we like this, like I know, but I don't know a lot, so need your help. But maybe they will expect that, oh, you speak Chinese, so you know everything. Okay, so like that, embarrassed sometimes and annoyed because having that expectation there, like why would you have that? And maybe nervous because they are like putting a lot of pressure on you. Okay, thank you.
Can I just, point of clarification before we go on?
Yes.
Asian Americans are not going to be the only ones asked to do CLIL. There just might be that extra expectation of the fluent in Mandarin. So here you can use the Chinese textbook to design a program around that. It's very, very much an expectation you should not feel that you need to meet on your own. Okay. That is there. CLIL is very complicated right now. CLIL is just becoming content language integrated. I can't figure it out right now. My brain is slowing down and I know what it is because I did all the workshops on it 2 years ago. Forgive my brain. But it's language and content integrated instruction, basically. So you're putting it all together and you don't necessarily have the skills to do that on your own, and neither do the teachers around you, which is why they're thinking if it's in English and it's Chinese, she can figure it out. So they might be throwing it on you, understanding that other perspective. I think I just answered the question. Darn it, I'm not supposed to do that. No, but I just want you to not feel overwhelmed by it and not to know that this is something that Asian Americans will definitely face a different level of it, but it's something that a lot of people end up teaching CLIL more and more as things are expanding.
So it's important to like share with the school. Oh, like thank you for sharing these material like with me. But probably that I need like a LET or someone else, an English speaking teacher, to cooperate together with this local CLIO class teacher. And we can set a time, maybe once a week for half an hour to do this lesson planning. Sometimes the school will just like throw these materials to you, but it's so important that we know that it will be helpful if someone could be helping with the communication and not to let yourself work on your own. And we don't want to see that you guys will be overwhelmed. So like these are some wording maybe you can share with the school. Like, thank you for sharing this material, but I definitely need some help, and be specific about this help. Like I would love someone that speaks English and regularly meeting what time. That could be very helpful. Or can we talk more before you decide, I plan for this whole semester, maybe next week sometime we can plan first to see if this is the best role or best think that I can create this because I don't have a lot of experience. I would love to hear some of the LET experience to help with me. So bring back their responsibility, and like your feelings are really important. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And we're going to move on to the second guess. Okay. So like when seeing your cohort going through these, like school give them material, not just expecting them to read Chinese, maybe just expect them to develop the whole like entire class. Okay, so I guess if seeing this, what will this ally feel? You can put in the chat box, and two of the feeling you can guess. Thank you. Content language integrated learning. Yes.
Thank you. I knew I was close to it. I just couldn't get the words.
Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing. I see surprises, annoying, angry as well. Feel sad seeing it. Okay. Surprise, sad, frustrated, definitely. Okay. For frustrated.
Annoyed, frustrated. Yeah.
Annoyed.
Also that.
Yeah, sometimes seeing this happen like to other, no matter like who this person is, we will feel like annoyed, but sometimes we don't know how to support. Okay. Anxious. Okay, feel nervous about the situation, seeing it happen. Maybe it will happen to me. Yeah, sometimes we will have these nervous thoughts, feeling annoyed, frustrated. Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing these answers, these guesses. I will, let me see if I can find a volunteer. Is there any volunteers that I can interview or I can ask? I see Emma. Sorry, are you there? I saw you put down a B earlier. If you are with us, would you mind to be my volunteer?
Yeah, I think you're talking about me.
Okay.
Yeah, I put down 2 and I don't remember what other one I did. I think I did 2 and 5.
Okay.
Just like anxious of not knowing like how to help with the situation, sort of thing. Then also just annoyed because it's kind of like it's just one of those things that like you don't think is gonna happen, and then when it does, like that kind of circles back to the anxious and just like what do you do? And you don't really know how to handle it.
Thank you, Emma. So sometimes these anxious comes from like you don't know how to handle situation, and it happens, and you never expected that it will happen. And how do I help? What should I say? That sometimes will bring us feel nervous. Thank you, Emma. Okay. Another one, Ellie Pike. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, can you be my volunteer?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
I also said anxious, similar to Emma, just not really knowing how to help and feeling sort of anxious on behalf of the person as well who was asked to teach. And then I also said frustrated. Yeah, similarly, like feeling frustrated on their behalf, but maybe also not really knowing your role in that situation.
Okay. So sorry, can I have an SR question for you? Like, yeah. Like if you are in that role, you don't know what to answer. Like, what are some questions you can ask this cohort or how to support?
I think just being like, saying that you're here to talk about anything, maybe as someone who can just like listen and support, but then also maybe not forcing the person to reflect or react. I think as an ally, it's important not to let your own anxieties like take the forefront. So just sort of being like, I'm here if you want to talk about this. I know that this must be really frustrating, but sort of just taking your cues from them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ellie, for sharing. Yeah. Thank you guys for sharing, because this will happen a lot, not just like expecting that, oh, using these Chinese materials to design these whole classes. Sometimes in daily life, like local people will assume Asian American maybe to help to translate for at the dining place or at the restaurant. So just like want to bring the scenario up that we can all to like try to think another perspective. How can we support? How can we ask? Like, what are some important or stand out for your other cohort in these scenarios? Okay, and going back to the scenario, as the school will give some expectation. What do you guys think? What might be going on behind the scene from the LET or the school staff? Like, why would they bring these materials and like put it on the ETAs? What are some of your thoughts that maybe you guys can type in on the chat box, or if you like to share, what are some guesses you think that, oh, the school will really want to put this pressure on these ETAs? Or maybe it's not pressure, maybe they believe in you. Maybe they count on you, but there might be something going on behind the scene. What are some of the guesses? Yeah, schools might be understaffed. Okay, and need more support. Thank you for sharing this point, because later when you go to these schools, some of them are remote schools. They really have lack of resources or staffs, and they will really value that, oh, we have a foreign teacher who speaks English and can teach. So they will like really want to include you or need your help. Okay, maybe you don't have a copy of these teaching materials in English. Maybe they will expect that you can help with the translation. Okay, then this is a big pressure. So how can we like clarify like which role we can help, which role that, sorry, I can't at this time, but we can work together. Okay, pressure to adopt to a new curriculum. They think that more than they're coming from a native English speaker. Yes. So they will think, wow, you are a native English speaker. So if you design this class, that will be perfect. But they forgot that some of us, we just have like new experience in teaching. We're still learning from these teaching skills. We're still adjusting to this environment. Okay. Okay, immersion, yes, being bilingual. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of them have over 1,000 students. I think we had some that were 1,500, 1,300 that I had 500 students this semester I taught in 2 different schools. So you do have a lot of students, and they're big classes. They're under-serviced a lot of areas. And then they do give you a lot of responsibility, and they value you a lot. So there's a lot going on. And then what you might also find is they're throwing things at you thinking you might be able to handle them, but they may not have all the expectations clearly enough to help you through it. So don't forget that if you can't get the support in your school because they don't have those answers yet, and that might be part of the reason why they're just handing you the textbook, because they don't have any other materials, as somebody pointed out, or they don't really know what to do with it. So they're hoping you'll have some ideas. But you also have your advisors and your coordinators to help you. And you have Jane, you have all these people to help you if the communication is breaking down and you feel completely overwhelmed and not able to go directly with your school. Use your resources. They can help you figure out what is going on behind the scenes, because maybe you don't feel comfortable asking, but there might be information they can gather for you or fill in for you because they might have it. And that might help clarify the situation so that you can create that balance that you're trying to look for.
Thank you, Daniel, for sharing that. Like sometimes we can reframe this pressure into values. They value us. Yeah, but some of these are our limitation, and we can always consult with we have TEFL advisors for these lesson planning, or some of these CLIO classes or English teaching, that what are some resources the advisor can share with you. And also the mental health advisor and intercultural communication, me and Amy, like how can we what are some wording or what are some conversation we can share with the school to set that boundaries? That will be some different support that we can provide. So like reframing that pressure into like, wow, they do really have a high expectation or really do value who I am in this school. Okay, we're gonna move on to the second. you have some good ideas, like how can we find a balance between what you need and what the school is asking for without feeling overwhelming? What are some wording? What are some sentences? What are some things that you can say? Or what are some conversation looks like? Okay, you can share with the school. Okay. So like any ideas that you would like to share? And remember in this scenario that we put in like Asian American cohort. So like, how do I share that part with my school? If you have good ideas, you can put it there like, oh, sorry, like this textbook is all in Chinese. Like I look Chinese, I look Taiwanese, but sorry, I'm not really fluent, or I don't really understand what the material is. I really need like an extra LET or like someone speak English to design this like with me. Maybe we can have more conversation. We have a time that we can have more conversation about this whole plan. Do you have time like with the school? Okay, like not to like take all the responsibility at first. Oh, that will be very overwhelming. Okay, so like what are some good ideas or some good thoughts or sentence that you would like to share? That would be appreciated. Yeah.
How could you respond to find that balance for yourself? We're giving you think time.
They know we have the answers.
All my nonverbal cues. Let's see.
Oh, I forgot to share, everybody. If no one have answer, it's okay too. Okay, just see how you feel right now. If you want to share, if not, it's okay. Okay. So remember I shared earlier about like how we can start with a sentence, like thank you for valuing my English skills, or valuing that about me. But there are some parts that these are my bound, like I can't, what are some parts I can't do, but I can do are these parts. To share that part with your school, that could be important to put in these conversation. Putting that understanding, I know there's a lot going on, the school is understaffed, you guys are really busy, so maybe like want for my support. And I'm new to the school, I have a lot of materials going on already. I wonder that if for the first week, I can sit in the class, or first or second week, I can sit in the class to observe the teachers, how they teach. Okay, that could be helpful. Then you can like bring up some of your needs. And what happened in the past is the school will invite you to observe the class, but the teacher speak Mandarin, speak Taiwanese, and you sitting there, you don't understand anything the teacher is saying. Okay, if there are these scenarios, please maybe let us know. Okay, or you can bring it up to the school that thank you for offering these observation opportunity, but there is a big problem is I don't know Mandarin, but this teacher is teaching life class in Mandarin. Okay, so I feel like this observation probably won't be the best benefit for later in my teaching, or can't really like bring me ideas. If there's an extra person that could to translate or help me through this this process, that will be really helpful. Okay, and to be specific about what your needs. Is there, I saw some, thank you, Jack. Is there someone else that you could ask that could also do the job or even better? Okay, yeah, thank you for thinking of me. But is there someone else that you could ask that could also do the job better? And if they say, no, you're the perfect one, how would you answer? You're the perfect one. You're the only one.
Oh, I know how I can answer. You could say something like, wow, this is a great opportunity, or I'm so excited about this, but I'm a little concerned I might not be able to do it very well on my own. Is there someone who can work with me? This seems like it would be perfect prefer co-teaching. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that can look a lot of different ways. It may not even be doing the same thing in the same day, but you could ask to take on more of the English. If they're doing a bilingual and some of the content is going to be in Mandarin, then they can switch it. You might use different materials for that. So it might be asking to modify the materials, or, oh, okay, I see, you know, you can even be like the textbook. It's like, well, is it okay if I look at some of the 4th grade requirements in America for what's being taught and see what vocabulary they're learning and see if we can find a balance between that? Because if it's a Chinese textbook, by the way, the vocabulary is going to be 95% chance it's going to be above 95% of your students if you directly translate it to English. You can't do a direct translation when you're teaching content. So there's going to be a lot of things that make it very complicated. So finding that balance and having a partner is going, or a support person, is going to make it really easy. So maybe you ask if you can use different materials on the same topic, and see if you can find some flex in that when you get handed a Chinese textbook that's just going to be very overwhelming and difficult to adapt on its own. So those are some ways to get around it. Asking for a partner, being brave enough to say that I need help with understanding this textbook because my Mandarin isn't that good. I can definitely understand being embarrassed by that, or feeling anxious and annoyed. All those feelings are completely valid. And it's just a matter of, you have to try and develop some agency and self to kind of figure out what that balance is going to be for you and have those conversations, which is what we're encouraging you to do here, rather than saying, oh, I can't do it, or, oh, they're asking too much for me. Really trying to find that balance and trying to find that connection. And it's an ambassador, it's intercultural, and it's interpersonal. You've got a lot of elements working there. So you've got to give yourself time to think about it clearly before you have to go into this.
Thank you, Gail. And I also see some Mimi shared that. Thank you for offering this wonderful opportunity. I want to help you, but I'm not capable of doing this task alone. And can I help you find other resources? Or I need a co-teacher. Okay, like some of what other extra resources I can provide, or what are extra I need from you. Okay, because Clio is also part of the program. Teaching English, teaching Clio classes will be something that you'll be facing. Okay, but just like the portion or what are the expectation they deliver it to you. Okay. All right. We really need to move on, Daniel. So later, I'll pass it on to Daniel. She can share some of her experience here and looking back at some reflections.
So a lot of this, we talked about your international experiences and things. This is just a chance to look back at sharing some of my points of over the years. Why have I traveled? Why have I chosen to work overseas? These are my reasons. And usually what I find is from ETAs, these are reasons I've heard from ETAs as well in the past. So there's some overlap because I was young once, not that long ago. I was your age. And I remember that first thing is I want to go for growth and change. I want to experience new things. I want to be an ambassador for my country and my culture, whatever that might be. I want to share who I am in my culture, and I want to share it and learn about yours. And I want to become a better person by engaging here. That's why I'm here. To experience, learn about, or engage with different people, places, ideas. You really want to have an open mindset about what's going on around you. Just be able to absorb as much as you can, to experience it, to be present in it, and to have it. And to be of service to community, schools, and students. You're here on a service scholarship, and you're here to be part of the solution, if you will. And so you're trying to integrate and serve your community. And there's a lot of things pulling your attention. A lot of people have a lot of ideas, and a lot of people really have a very big, strong, and very great goal to learn Chinese. But don't forget that you're working in these schools, and that was one of the primary things you came here to do. So when you go to work and communicate with your schools, it is not supposed to be 100% of your life. It's definitely not supposed to be that, but make sure you have a balance. Don't forget your school service and your sense of service that brought you to Taiwan to help these kids. And I don't think any of you have a problem with that. I really don't. I just point it out all the time. And to be an active and contributing member of our goals and vision. What is it that we are here to do? What are we here to share and to grow the program's goals, to help all of our students, to help all of our schools? Definitely tied into the last one, the idea of service. But to be active, to participate, to be active doesn't mean just to do what you're told. You know, to be active is to engage and to create dialogue and to be part of the conversation and hopefully part of the decisions. Now, when you're starting out at the beginning of the year, it's a lot of absorbing information and hopefully observing what's going on and getting more and more active and contributing more and more as you go through the program. Don't try to do everything on day one. Give yourself some slack, and then by the end, you're doing, you know, a lot more by the end. But you don't have to take on everything right at the beginning. This is a learning process. You go through your culture shock. You're going to go through culture shock in your daily life, and you are going to go through a specific culture shock that is getting into the educational system of Taiwan. And I say that knowing full well what I'm talking about. It was a huge shock to me, even after having been in Korea for 8 years. There were things in Taiwan that were still different. So you just have to kind of go with it. Reflect on why you're here again. If times get tough, go back to what your goals were. Go back to what your hopes were. Go read your essay for why you applied to this program in the first place and see if you're matching those goals still, or has your vision changed? What are your goals and what do you want and what do you want to contribute? These kind of things will help you stay focused on all the good things that brought you to Taiwan on those difficult days. But for me, these are the things that keep me going through the good times and the tough times when I'm working from an international perspective. And as I said, I've studied and I've taught in over 6 countries, including South Korea, Taiwan, Mexico, France, Morocco, and the United States. And it's kind of a lot when you think about it. And I've been there for multiple, you know, at least 6 months in each of those places. Well, 3 months in Morocco. But the point is, don't forget why you're here. Reflect on why you're here. Just be here for personal growth and change. And that's going to include a lot of things. Be flexible. That's another thing I don't think I have on here that you want to be. If you do know you get anxious because schedules are not available right away or things change frequently, you're going to have to find some space for that. Almost guaranteed, to give yourself space to experience and learn how this culture works and how you play your part in it, whatever your role is. Kunya, finish. That's not a random word. So what it has taught me, in any community or organization we live and work in, we can only understand certain parts of the situation, our perspective, and when we're given information or asked for more information. But we don't ever or almost never have all the information or answers, but we can expand our understanding through better communication and work with those around us to find solutions and create greater synergy and harmony. And I think that the most successful ETAs have really worked to expand their understanding of the situation through communicating with other people, rather than trying to keep it all inside and just try to go with it all the time. Sometimes you've got to kind of bring it about and communicate. That's really critical.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing some of your experiences, and I will continue to share there are some tips for communication with empathy and culture in mind. We're going to be in the Taiwan context, so there will be some tools we can share with you how to communicate without hurting feelings. We don't want to hurt other people's feelings, and we don't want to hurt ourselves' feelings. So like, here are some of the things that we would love to share with you. When questions or concern arise, remember to communicate. Okay, that is really important. Maybe we can start with, like, I noticed that blah, blah, blah. I was wondering, blah, 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 I was wondering about, like, to have some questions that you can bring it up. And then knowing that who can I talk with or talk to about this part, or who can I talk to about helping this part? Like, be clear about what are some roles that could provide you help, okay, to make yourself like you're not feeling alone at the school, being isolated. there are some resources that we can ask to reach out and to ask. And maybe you can say that I can't, and this is a great idea, blah, blah, blah. But we also want to consider blah, 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 blah. I think Clio is a great idea. Having this material is great, but we also need to consider it because this class is teaching in Chinese. Who are the people that I can talk to help to make this communication clear? Because the Clio classes, the teacher speaks Chinese. How does the school can provide this help to make this work? Okay, so to have these conversations, that are some tips that we will love to share with you. And as for more details, sometimes we think about behind the scene, maybe there's a lot going on, but we can also like, to understand what was going on, have more details and try to gather these information to help you have a better understanding about like your side, their sides, and put it in the conversation. Oh, we understand that right now because of the school is starting, you're having a very busy semester coming up. But I'm definitely very worried because next Monday we're having the school start and I haven't get my schedule yet. Can you let me know like what time? It would be nice that I can know what time I can get this schedule or for the first week, at least to help me have a better understanding about the program or about the school system. Okay, who can I talk to? So it's important to ask details, understand your partner's point of view, okay, and rather than just blaming and judging what is right or wrong. And the other one is reflect rather than react. Sometimes when we face these scenarios, we will be having these very strong emotions, feelings. That's not wrong at all. We all have to take care of these emotions. Take a moment, step back, reflect to think, oh, what's going on with myself? What are these feelings? Have the space, take care of them, come to us, we can talk, and then also reflect on some of, what's going on with them and how we going to deal this situation together to benefit our students. Okay, these are the target, the population we want to provide help. Okay, so it's important to take care of your feelings, to take care of other your students' benefit, reflect rather than just react right away, like attacking. That will really help in the whole situation. So these are some of the thoughts that I would love to share with you.
Okay. And so this is the PDF that's listed here that Jane will show you in a second. I'm going to show you 3 points of the main point of it. So if you're doing, this works really well with reflect rather than react, because this is a chance to give yourself a time. This is a time you can take to organize your thoughts and what's important to you before you have a difficult conversation or a challenging conversation or situation. So okay.
Hold on.
She's sharing the screen. Okay, so objective, okay. Rar.
No.
Rar.
Rar. There you go.
There you go. Okay, here's the worksheet. So this worksheet will be available for you to look at just so you can see it. I know you can't really see it very much right now. Jane, can you enlarge that? Thank you. Well,
I'm sorry. Is it better?
A little there, a couple more, and then that's good because I want to talk about the wants and desires mostly. So this is just a worksheet. You don't need to do the whole thing. Of course, it's up to you, but if you really want to give yourself time to think out a problem, this is one possible way of doing it. If you look, the first is what's the prompting event? So that's the situation. You can write it down or not. The most important part here, I think, is what are my wants and desires in this situation? So what are your objectives? What results do you want from this conversation or from this solving this problem, whatever it is? What do you want to happen? Relationships. How do I want the other person to feel about me after the interaction? So do you have a desired result for how they feel? You know, you don't want them to feel upset. You don't want them to feel, but what do you want them to feel? How do you hope they will feel? Supported, understood. What do you expect? What do you hope how do you feel they will feel about you? Oh, she's very caring. He really listens to what I said and came up with a good idea. They really understand what they're talking about, you know, and I really appreciate their opinion. What is it that you hope they will come away with from the interaction? And self-respect. How do I want to feel about myself after the interaction? if we're responding out of frustration and anxiety, do you think, how are you going to feel about that afterwards? Because are you going to treat them the way they want to be treated? Are you going to get that same result? Versus if you can go in calmly to the situation after the fact. So there's times where you want to give yourself some space if possible and think about the situation rather than react right away. So if your teacher's going to the next class right after your class and you have a break, but they don't, or you only have 10 minutes in class between classes, may not be the best time to bring up the problem. So think about when is the time to do that. It may not be right after the class is finished. It might have to wait. So that's good if it gives you time to think and calm down a little bit and get out of the anxious and the frustration that does happen. And then the priorities, prioritize. Which one is the number one priority? Is the objectives the first priority? Is the relationship the most important part to you for this situation? Or does your self-respect, is that really what this is about? Making sure that you're heard and understood and in a way that respects yourself as well. And conflicts. What will make it hard to be effective in this situation? So language barriers could be a conflict. Anything else that could be a conflict to you, like our personalities don't get along very well. This LET and I we really struggle. We just are never on the same page. We have very different styles. Whatever it is, you can write it down and just think about it in a different context. I think that's good for that. That's plenty for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you for opening that up.
No problem. And later we will share this with Kevi, and then they will pass it with to everyone that you can have it with you. Yes. And the last part.
Yeah, this one I'll do quickly because we can do it as an example.
Mm-hmm.
So the last thing is finding joy and balance for yourself, an individual practice. It's a mindfulness activity that I really like. It's called GLAD. Some of you may have heard about it before. I did not create it. You list 4 things. What are you grateful for? What have you learned? What have you achieved? What delighted you? So what did you find great joy or pleasure in? What have you achieved or what successes did you have? A good start would be, I made it to Fulbright Taiwan. Great achievement, amazing success. It could be, I spoke to the one student who didn't want to talk to me for 5 weeks, and I finally got them to say hello. What did you learn? And what are you grateful for? My tips are, if you keep a journal, do it regularly as part of your practice of journal writing, or just do it occasionally when you have a rough day. Take a moment to reflect on the positive. This is something I don't think we do enough, is reflect on the positives. If you have a to-do list, try writing a done list. Because that's what you achieved. Okay, so if you wanted to go deeper into your achieved, if you're feeling like really frustrated, you haven't gotten anything done, make a done list. All the things you've done and accomplished so far. Today, this week, this month. It really helps you boost your own sense of, goodness, because it's there. And it's just a really great practice. Also, this could be adapted for your students. You could do this as a closing reflection or a weekly thing. It could be done in a CLIL class or any other class in either language, because this is a reflection and mindfulness practice. So they could be grateful that teacher let us sing songs. They could say they learned that magic E makes the vowel say its name. They achieved finishing their homework. It could be anything. It could be anything that you want them to do. It can be adapted for you or your students to just give you some mindfulness and find some joy and in the positive things that are going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a little gift.
Thank you, Daniel, for sharing. Maybe I can use this as a closure for our workshop today. That I'm really grateful to see all of you. Finally, have more time to see you guys and hopefully to meet in person. I'm grateful to see you guys. And what I learned today, I learned from your experience, like how to successfully engage with your community. What are some of your emotions or feeling at that scenario? These are something I learned. And what I achieved successfully is to finish this workshop with everyone here. And I'm really happy to be here to provide some of our service or our professional to work with you together in this coming next year. I hope that you guys have a great time in this workshop. If there's part that you feel offended or don't feel comfortable during the workshop, please reach out. Your feelings is important. Your self-respect is important. Don't be afraid that you will break the relationship with us. It's always welcome to have conversation, to talk about what's on your mind and what's your feelings.
And your feedback will help us make this presentation better, which is our goal. We want this to be something that you can use throughout your experience. You're going to be communicating with people on a daily basis. And in the past, people have really struggled with some of these issues. And so we hope that you will find this useful.
Thank you, guys. Okay, I think that will be the end for today. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat box, and please enjoy your bentos. I hope it's delicious. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Can you guys send me the email?
Yes. I'll put it in the chat box.
The email address on the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Jen. So I think later your coordinator will share this PPT with you all. And so now just enjoy your lunch and break, and see you this afternoon. Okay, so for this afternoon, you will go to different Google Meet link from your coordinators. They will teach you how to fill out the school preference form. Okay. So thank you for joining us today, this morning, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.